what were some of your fandoms growing up? Were you into comic books? Were you into art?
Well, no, not really, because we didn't really have the, I guess we had the Eagle, you know, with Dan Dare and stuff, and the Mekon, but I wasn't really into that stuff. I guess it was all, for me, it was about football, or what you call soccer. Even though you guys use your hands and we use our feet, I mean, I don't want to have a fight about it. I'm just saying it makes more sense. So I was really more into soccer. Yeah.
I wanted to mention that you recently appeared in the collaboration in the West End and also on Broadway as Andy Warhol. And I know there's a film coming out as well, so I wanted to know, how familiar were you with Andy before portraying him? And what is your approach, you know, being on stage versus being in front of the camera?
Oh, wow. Okay, so yes, I did know Andy Warhol's work, and in fact, I knew the collaboration, which was a collaboration that he did with Basquiat. And initially, when the producer came to me, who is an old friend of mine, said, "Do you want to play Andy Warhol?" I said, "Absolutely not. I don't want to do that. I think there's a reason that he is usually played as a sort of a cameo in films, and I don't want to do it." And he said, "It's about the collaboration with Basquiat." And I said, "I'm in," because I had seen that collaboration at the Whitney about 10 years before, and actually I saw it again. It was in Paris. At the Vuitton Foundation have this amazing museum, and it was displayed there, and it's an extraordinary collaboration. So that point, I was in.
And your transformation was amazing. I love seeing all the photos of you on your Instagram.
Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. And obviously, it goes without saying that you received well-deserved critical acclaim for Vision and also WandaVision. Yes. What were some of your initial thoughts when you were approached about this spin-off TV series, which was, you know, the first of the MCU?
What happened was big man Kevin Feige texted me and said, "Can you come to the office?" And I said, yes I can. So I came to the office, and I had just convinced myself that I was getting fired and that it was done. And then I walked in, I thought, I'm gonna, you know, we've been in business together for years, and I thought, I'm gonna take the bull by the horns. So I walked in and I said, "Guys, it's been a great run. I've loved it. I love you guys. No hard feelings, you know." And Kevin went, "Are you quitting?" And I went, "No. Are you firing me? No." And he went, "No, we want to talk to you about a TV show." And I said, "Oh, I'm in." So, and then he kind of described what he had in his head, which was, I kind of see black and white 50s television with canned laughter, and I was like, perfect. And that's how it began.
I also was curious if your passion for directing came alongside, you know, growing up enjoying acting as well, or was that something that came later?
My passion for directing. I think that it came. Okay, I like telling stories, and that's whether I'm an actor or whether I'm a writer or a producer, or I'm sitting at a dinner party, or I'm sitting on this stage with you. I just like telling stories, and a story came to me, and I thought, stories come to you, but I thought, oh, this is the first story that came to me that I thought I should tell. So I directed a movie. The next time one comes to me that I think I should direct, I'll do it. Might be a while.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask about one of my favorite movies, which is A Knight's Tale. I wanted to know how easy was it to slip into the role, and any memorable behind-the-scenes moments working with the incredible all-star cast.
I'm glad that you all like A Knight's Tale. I love that movie. It's a very weird movie. Recently, I got called up by Brian Helgeland, the writer-director of A Knight's Tale. And Brian said, "Oh man, the pitch didn't work." And I went, "What pitch?" And he said, "Oh, I pitched Knight's Tale 2. And I went, "Oh, you did?" And he went, "Yeah, I pitched your idea." And I went, "Wait, I had an idea about Knight's Tale 2? And he said, "Yeah, you know, when you were drunk at that bar and and I had no idea. And I went, "Oh," because now I don't want him to have full credit for the thing, you know, so I went, "Oh, yeah, I remember that." And he said, "Yeah, you pitched this great idea for Knight's Tale 2. And I went, and they didn't go for it." And I went, "They didn't go for my idea?" I couldn't remember, so, yeah, it's crazy. I feel like that film's a crazy thing that the studios at the time didn't know, you know, what it was or that it would have an audience. And wherever I am, I still, you know, I live in New York City, and I still walk down the street in New York City, and, you know, some guy will go, "Hey, naked guy!" And I'll go, "Yes. Yes. My God, my family are proud." Yes. And so it's strange. I don't think they knew what they had at the time, and I feel like they don't know what they would have now if we made a second one. And I think there is one to make, and I would love that.
All right. Let's do it. And my final question before we do go to the crowd, having played both real life and fictional...
Your hair is so sparkly.
It is.
Is that natural?
It's genetics, yes.
Good answer.
So having played real life and fictional characters, do you approach it differently, and how do you find the balance between staying true to a character's spirit, but also your own interpretation?
Wow. Well, there is only my interpretation. I'm left with that. I kind of, you know, okay. So you get offered a role, and say the role is Vision, or say the role is Chaucer, or, you know, whoever. You kind of figure that you could drown in all the fear that you would have of trying to live up to everybody else's idea of who this person is. And so you're left with the realization that you can't possibly do that. You can't possibly please everybody. So you're just left with the notion of trying to please yourself, you know, and feel proud of the thing that you have done. And your interpretation will just either have to be good enough or not, you know, depending on how people feel about it. And that's just me being honest. You're just left with, how do I receive this character that I read, and what I think the the story is, and how do I fit into it, and what can I bring to it, and you're kind of left with that, because otherwise it's just too frightening. If you really start thinking about, I'm going to disappoint all of these people, there are so many people to disappoint in the world, and I've disappointed lots of them. But so I guess you're just sort of left with your own thing, and you do your own thing, and you hope people dig it. That's it.
Makes sense. All right, so let's light up the mic. Let's get to some questions from y'all. And just, once again, just one question per person. You're up first. What's your name? What's your
That's the
question?
guy in the poncho. I remember you.
Yeah, sorry, I asked kind of a confusing question when we took that photo, but my name is Alex. I would just like to say first that your journey through the MCU was one of the coolest to see, because you went from being the voice of Jarvis, which, you know, a lot of people think, oh, that's actually a guy making that voice, it's not just a computer, and then becoming one of the more interesting and intellectual heroes of the MCU was just a really cool journey to see. But my question is, at the end of WandaVision, you know, you had your ship of Thesis argument / fight with the white vision or spectral vision, and you seem to restore his memories, but then he just kind of disappears. So where did white vision go, and why didn't he maybe help Wanda out in Multiverse of Madness?
Well, those are really big questions. Most of them are below my pay grade to answer. I can put you in touch with Kevin Feige. Ask these questions directly.
So where would you think that maybe he would have gone?
I can't say. I contractually am obliged to not answer that question. But what I can tell you is Kevin Feige doesn't like loose ends. So we'll get there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Wow, that's about as diplomatic as I've ever been.
Take it. What's your name? What's your question?
I'm Susie. My question's for
Hi, Susie.
Gangster number one. Hi.
Gangster number one.
Yeah.
God bless you.
How did sharing the role of Malcolm McDowell affect your performance, and also did it have any influence on your career after that?
Oh. Yes. I mean, Malcolm is, an extraordinary, he's an icon. He's an icon, and I was so flattered to come in and be chosen to play this part with him. You have to understand, I was kind of just out of drama school, and you know, I had seen his seminal movies as a drama student, and so I was in awe. And did it change my? What did I do? I watched him and tried to absorb how he was doing his stuff. And in actual fact, I'll tell you, I've never told this story, but I spent the whole time on set watching him work, because he did his whole stuff prior to me taking over. We shot all of his bit first. And he said, he came up to me at the end of his last take and he said, "Well, I've been great, don't fuck it up." And I said, "Oh, well, thank you." How did it change my career? It was massive. It changed my career more than any other thing I've ever done. In that, I mean, it's a movie that I think a lot of the people in this room won't have seen, but for directors in LA, who I guess one way or another are your first audience, it was a calling card that I had. So it changed in terms of access to different kinds of jobs. It changed everything. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking about Gangster #1. That's very, very sweet of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for coming to KC.
Hey, how are you?
My question is, from trudging buck-ass naked as Chaucer to wielding Mjolnir as a soulless synthetic humanoid, what was your favorite character on film? Personal.
Oh my gosh, I haven't, that's really hard and it changes day to day. Okay, so I'll just pick today. Today, somebody was mentioning a film I hadn't thought of for ages, and they were talking about Master and Commander, and I was like, oh, thank you very much. And as they stood there talking to me, I thought, yeah, that's one I'm not embarrassed by. And I handled my stuff and I did my job and I was proud of that one. So thank you very much. That's the answer.
What's your name?
I am Amanda.
Hi.
I think you're absolutely wonderful. And we've all had the profound privilege of watching your career absolutely take off. And my question to you was, as you look back on what the things that you have done, what's your fondest memory of them?
Oh my gosh. That's a big question. You know, I've been doing it for most of my life at this point. So that there are so many. I have so many fond memories of making movies. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to work with clever and inspiring people. And so it's very hard for me to pick one. But bearing in mind, I met my wife on A Beautiful Mind. Thank you very much. I think I would be in trouble and have a lot of explaining to do when I got home if I didn't say it was meeting my wife on A Beautiful Mind.
Thank you, sir.
That does not mean it's not true.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
So I saw.
Wait. What's your name?
My name is Brandon.
Hi, how are you, Brandon?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm just tickety-boo, thank you very much.
Awesome. I saw an interview with WandaVision director Matt Shackman shortly after the finale of WandaVision, and he seems like a very warm guy. What is your favorite type, kind, style of director, what you look for in a project?
Well, there are lots of different types of directors. There are some that are better with actors. There are some that are better with cameras. There are some that are better with scripts, and some that are great at all of those things. And then there are ones who really aren't, and some that just don't get in your way, and some that really get in your way, and so I think there are many different types of directors. Having done it once, I don't call myself a director because I feel like you got to do it a couple of times before you you know what I mean. I've jogged. I wouldn't call myself a jogger, you know what I mean? I've done it, but I wouldn't say that it's, you know, a thing I excel at. But what I can tell you is it's the most exhausting job on a film set. I guess as you get older and more cynical, you can do some things when you don't trust a director, where you go, I'm just going to reduce the amount of options you have in an edit suite, and I'm going to do it my way. And I'm just going to, you can say, hey, Paul, could we have one that's more emotional? And you go, sure, and do it your own way again. But then I directed a movie, and it taught me such a lesson editing the movie, and I think I became a more generous actor because of directing, where I just thought, I'm going to give you everything that I can think of that I think you might need. I'm just going to give it to you, whether I trust you or not. I'm gonna know that you had it in your arsenal.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to Kansas City.
Oh, thank you for having me.
What's your name?
My name's Alicia.
Hi.
Hi. So I worked at a video store for 5 years, and I have prepped and put up so many of your movies over the years. A lot of obscure ones like Game of Death and the Sharp series and all that. But my favorite movie, and maybe my favorite movie of all time, is Master and Commander. I guess my question is, I'm also like very into science and anthropology and stuff. I know you guys filmed at the Galapagos, and I can't remember if you were there as well, but what were your impressions of that, and how was that experience for you, I guess?
Yeah, okay, so what happened was we were in Mexico, and we pretended we were in the Galapagos, and then a small splinter group went to the Galapagos. And it was one of the most extraordinary experiences of my career, was doing that shoot. It was really miraculous, and in a way feeling yourself part of the world in a new and indelible way. Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
My question is, in WandaVision, one of the many amazing things about that show is you got to explore several different eras of television. Did you have one or some that you were expected or really excited to delve into or explore?
Sorry, I missed the thing. Different types of...
In WandaVision, you explored many different eras of television, different decades. I didn't know if there was any that jumped out at you that you were excited to explore or that were fun to shoot.
Oh, well, so many of them. I mean, so many of them were fun to shoot, sort of toying with how, those shows changed during the American century, I guess, was super fun, with kind of teachable moments and stuff, as you got on, went through it and got to the 80s. But really, the really fun bit for me, was getting to study the Dick Van Dyke Show. And realize that they rehearsed these shows and then they filmed them in 2 days. And the director came to me and said, I got this crazy idea. Let's do that. Let's rehearse it and then let's shoot it in 2 days. And I went, wait, what? And he went, in front of a live studio audience. And I hadn't been on stage for 25 years. And I was like, absolutely not. That's the worst idea a director has ever come to me with. Please please don't make me do that. Let's just shoot it as if, and then we'll add laughter in. That's as if we were doing that. And he went, I just got a really good feeling about this. And I went, I really, really don't. And somehow I got talked into it, and I was terrified. And I went out on stage, and I did my first joke. Everybody laughed, and I'm so shallow as a human being with no real personal resources that the entire audience laughing at my joke, I was like, this is great! And then I realized I'd wasted my entire life, and I should have been doing sitcoms because I loved it so much. It was embarrassing. And we shot it in a day, and then we shot specials in, for half a day the next day, and that was it. We only did it once.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yeah, what's your name?
Oh my God, you look amazing.
Thank you. My name is Mac. As I'm sure you can tell, I absolutely adored WandaVision. I was in college when that was premiering. Me and my roommates would watch it every single week. And my question to you is just, what commercial that aired in WandaVision was the coolest one to you? Because we would analyze it every single week, and we'd spend 15, 30 minutes afterwards just debating what we thought the commercials were about.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. They were all so good. I really, really loved, the watch commercial. I loved it so much. I found the guys that had originally made the watch for the commercial and had them make me a bunch to give as gifts to people. So I'm going to say the watch commercial.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a side question. What is this like for you to see people like dressed up as characters and roles from things you've been in? Maybe not A Knight's Tale because they might get arrested, but...
It's a very good point. In fact, I have a story about A Knight's Tale, if anybody wants the story. And it's about the day that I shot me naked for the first time. And I sat there in my trailer thinking, wow, I'm about to walk down this street with no clothes on. And that's crazy and kind of frightening, and like, how do I feel about it? It could be humiliating, it could be, I don't know, I'm just embarrassed. And there was a knock at my door, and I went, oh, it's time. I went, hello? They went, hey, it's costume. And I went, oh. Wait, is costume? They went, yeah, we got your costume. I went, there's a costume? So I said, come in, and they came in, and they had a hanger, like a clothes hanger, and on the hanger was hanging a day-glow yellow sock. And I said, so what's the sock for? And they said, oh, the sock is, if you want to wear the sock. And I said, why would I wear a day-glow yellow sock? And they said, well, in case you want to, I went, want to what? Just, spit it out.
What's your name?
Hello, I'm Deanna.
Hi.
So there are two famous movies you're in, and both of them you get naked in. Knight's Tale, obviously, and...
Wait, I got naked in another movie?
Yeah, and the monk from Da Vinci Code.
I got naked in another movie.
So, those two specific movies, the poet in Knight's Tale you play likes to make banter and bravado for who he's announcing. How would he announce the crazy monk to Tom Hanks?
my gosh, I've got no idea. Yeah, I mean, I Love a Knight's Tale. It was a long time ago. It's funny because people come up and say, "Hey, Paul, can you put your favorite quote down?" And I'm like, I don't remember anything. I mean, it's amazing that I remember anything from that shoot, by the way.
You remembered the sock, so.
But yeah, so I don't know, probably quite loudly, but I'm not going to try and do an impression of it, which I feel like it might be the thing that you're asking for.
Yeah, how would you announce him to Tom Hanks for a fight?
I just don't think that I would. And Tom Hanks, I guarantee you, hasn't seen the film. So Tom Hanks would be like, "Paul, what are you doing?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it's a bit from a movie that I made 20 years ago." And he'd be like, "I didn't see that movie."
Thank you for my smart-ass question.
No, it's a lovely question. I just wasn't good enough to answer it.
What's your name?
I think that you're talking about is the one where I was telling a story about how when I was born as Vision, Joss Whedon thought it was weird that Vision didn't have the correct genitalia. That is true. And he said, I gotta see it. I've gotta see renderings of drawings of Vision getting born. And the entire art department was like, "Joss, you really don't need to see that." He was like, I don't understand why he isn't, born like that. We're seeing him naked. And then they're like, "It's gonna be fine." He went, "I gotta see it." So they did a whole bunch of renderings, and this is a true story, with artist renderings. They put them on the wall, and Joss Whedon came in and he looked at the wall of me playing Vision with artist renderings of what I guess he thought was correct genitalia for Vision, and he went, "Yeah, I don't need to see this."
Thank you.
It's a true story, but one I'm slightly puzzled that we brought up this evening. Hello.
Hi.
Let's not talk about anything weird.
What's your question?
I'm Jamie. My question is, obviously makeup and prosthetics are cumbersome, that's not a secret.
Yes.
My question was, what's the most absurd prosthetics or makeup story that you have from a movie?
This could go a really bad way. Right now. It's gotta be, I've worn prosthetics a lot in things, but I feel like it has to be Vision. The first time, because an artist draws this thing and then they render an idea that everybody agrees on, and then you try and make that thing. And the first time we tried to do it, it was all makeup. And we put it on, and it took 8 hours to put it on, and it took 6 hours to unglue it from my body. And they realized that that was the shooting day gone, so they would never actually be able to shoot on me because I'd already need to be taking the makeup off to, get out of the day. So that didn't work. And then they built a costume, and we put the costume on. Then we built the thing, the whole cowl, as they call it. And everybody was like, "This is great." And I went and we shot it, and we did all the tests, and it was like, "This is great." And I was like, "Awesome." But I wasn't acting yet. So then I went on set and we started acting, and I couldn't hear anybody. I just couldn't hear anybody, and people looking at me, and it was my turn to speak. I was like, "What?" And they were like, "It's your turn to speak." I went, "Oh no, this is terrible." In fact, Robert Downey made a very nice speech the first day I showed up on set, which I nodded and applauded and was gracious about. Didn't hear a word of it. Not a word of it. So then they would make little holes, then they would get me ears that came off, and so, but in the end it has to be that one because it was, we had to figure out a whole way of pumping freezing cold water around my body so the makeup wouldn't come off because, so yes, it was playing Vision, is the short answer. Vision is the short answer.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Brian. Brian. I was wondering, since you've been in the MCU the entire time, but half the time you were a voice actor and the other time you were a body actor.
Body actor, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a good term for it. What was that transition like, going from switching from voice to in person, but in the same franchise with the same people?
Well, there are a couple of ways to tell you about this. One is just to make a joke of it, which is, well, they used to pay me lots of money to not show up on set, and that was great. And then, then I had to show up on set in this cumbersome costume, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the truth of it is that it taught me a really valuable lesson, a lesson that I already knew. But it really hammered home a valuable lesson. The reason that I went from playing Jarvis to playing Vision was that when I was playing Jarvis, I was really nice and helpful and funny. And everybody enjoyed working with me on those, those voice sessions. And at some point, I think I was so relentlessly, irritatingly nice that they were like, hey, maybe we should give him a job in the actual movies. And it really not, I don't know, can you say asshole in the Midwest? I don't know. But not being an asshole really is the story of them giving me an upgrade, is being pleasant to be around, which I try. I fail sometimes, but I really, really try.
Thank you.
Now piss off back to your seat. Just a joke, you were lovely.
What's your name?
Good evening, I'm Annette.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
My question is, do you have any upcoming projects with your wife, the beautiful Jennifer Connelly? And if not, what would your dream project with her be?
Oh my gosh, I don't have any projects with her. I would love to do, well, there are so many things I'd like to do with her. I think she is, oh, come on. Guys, get your minds out of the gutter. This is the Midwest. This is not what I've been led to expect. Oh, I am shocked to the core. There are so many movies that I would like to do with her. Oh my gosh, you people. Oh, I've got so many terrible jokes going in my head. Don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. But the truth is, I think she's, as a director and as an actor, she's the best actress I've ever worked with. I would love to, she's the most fastidious, and also, well, kind of irritating in that she would, I said earlier that directing a movie is really exhausting. And when I directed her in a movie, she would sort of like have an idea in the middle of the night, and she would like wake me up. I got an idea, and I got 2 hours of sleep is what I've got. You've had an idea, and yeah. So it was, she's so on it when she's working, and she managed to make me look like I knew what I was doing, and I'm eternally grateful. So the answer to you is, I'm always looking for something a movie to do with my wife, Jennifer. Honestly, you people, I had heard something entirely different about Missouri, all right? Entirely different. Oh my God. Dirty, dirty, dirty people. Unbelievable. And I love it. I will be, I just want to do a bunch of, crazy, odd stuff, and I've been looking to do some really weird stuff with Jennifer for ages.
That's brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.
Great question. Oh my God. Hi, what's your name?
Paul, good evening. I promise this won't be weird.
I've got a feeling that if you don't make it weird, I will by mistake.
Well, my name is Jay. I'm here with my wife. We're here for our anniversary, and this was the one panel I wanted to come.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. So my question is, if there were a Labyrinth 2, why would you play the Goblin King? No, I'm just kidding.
It's a fantastic question.
No, my real question was, clearly there have been some advances in AI technology in the world, in the real world, that have allowed us to pass the Turing test and make all sorts of advancements in terms of generation of words and images. As someone who has played characters based on artificial intelligence and who we hope will continue to play characters based on artificial intelligence, what is your perspective on artificial intelligence, and how does it inform that performance?
Well, that is a massive question. And it's so weird that you bring it up, because I've been talking with some people a lot about exactly that. And I'm not going to give any of it away, because it might be part of a plot of something that I think might be exciting to a few people in this room. I think it's a really urgent question to investigate. I just can't investigate it right now on the stage, but yes. I think we're all thinking about that right now. At least we should be, the speed at which things are moving, I think, are astounding. And although I did, my wife was struggling with the scene that she was doing, and then I put it in the chat box thing, and it wrote a screenplay of the scene for me, and it was the worst thing I'd ever. It's hilariously bad, but it's just been born, So I think I can't get too much into it, because I think it's a really great thing for somebody like me to investigate in something that I think might excite you.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to White Vision's development.
Happy anniversary.
Great, we got time for a few more questions. What's your name?
Lydia, how are you?
Hi, Lydia.
It's good to see you again.
It's nice to see you.
So I had to put prompts on my phone. So first of all, thank you for coming to spend your Saturday with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So before I knew you as Vision or Dr. Maturin, I knew you as Geoffrey Chaucer. I think my brother and I watched A Knight's Tale so much on VHS that we broke the tape at one point. But alongside a bunch of other amazing actors, you worked alongside the late, great Heath Ledger that we lost way too soon. I just wanted to know if he maybe taught you any life lessons, not as an actor, but just as a human being.
Well, that's really hard. It's really hard to talk about stuff like that. And I understand the question, and I understand the interest, but like, Heath was a mate. He was a friend of mine, so it suddenly becomes hard to have those conversations in a public way. Heath was a person that was so incredibly alive that it is still hard for me to imagine him dead. And I suppose that is the thing that Heath has taught me, is to live your life in the moment. There's been so much stuff said about Heath and the Joker and darkness. He was the most light, alive, funny, loving human being.
He was a beautiful man.
Say again?
He was a beautiful man.
And and inquisitive. And I miss him. And that's all I have to say on that.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Heath, not Ledger, obviously. My question is, with some of the Marvel movies using such a massive amount of green screen, how does that affect your performance and your approach to the role?
Wow. Okay, well, you get used to it. You know, when you first do it, you kind of like, wait, there's going to be what, where, and is it going to look okay? And you kind of like, don't trust it. And then you do it once and you see it, and it worked, and you kind of begin to believe in it. And as far as actually doing it, there are so many things that you're having to imagine that, you know, even if you're on okay, so even if you're running across a field with a machine gun and people are shooting at you, and either you're doing it with a green screen or you're doing it with a bunch of extras and other actors, and nobody's actually trying to kill you, right? So, in fact, everybody's job is to try and keep you safe. So the bit that the most pertinent bit that you're having to imagine is, what would it be like to be facing imminent death? And can I imagine that well enough that an audience is going to believe it? It doesn't matter whether there's green screen or actors with rubber guns. You know what I mean? So it hasn't really changed anything for me in that regard.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, it looks like we have time for one more question. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Jacob Gonzalez.
Hi.
My question for you is, if you could talk to your past self for some advice on becoming the big shot actor that you are, what would you say to yourself and people like me who want to, become that one day?
Okay, wait, so I'm 52 asking my past self for advice, or I'm giving my past self?
Yeah, giving your past self advice.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I got you. Well, when I was, wow. This is really hard because I don't know enough about it. And young actors ask me for advice, and I am at a loss to help them. And the reason is that it was just different. When I was your, how old are you?
17.
Oh my God. I didn't even try for another, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years or something. But when I did, it was going in and meeting people. There were no self-tapes. There was none of that stuff. And you could go in and you could charm somebody and now all these self-taping things that I hear about just sounds like a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. Whereas, like in the old days, you could make people, okay, so here's how it worked for me, and this is just the truth, is that I would go in, I would have worked my ass off. I didn't go out, I'm dyslexic, so I'd learn everything. I would go in and I would be able to say, I might not be as good looking as the next guy who comes in, I might not be as appropriate as the next guy comes in, I might not be as famous and bankable as the next guy that comes in, but I guarantee you I worked hardest. Okay? And then I wouldn't get the job. Right? And I wouldn't get the job. And most of the time, that's how it happened. And then one time, the guy who was better looking and more famous and more bankable got an even better job. And they were like, who's that guy that came in and knocked it out of the park that day? And that's the story. For me, that was the story, is I could guarantee one thing, was not that I was the most talented, not that I was the better, whatever, most appropriate for the role, whatever. I could guarantee one thing, was that I was the person that had worked hardest on that audition. And then I would hope for the best. But I guess the best advice I ever heard for a young actor is from Anthony Hopkins. And Anthony Hopkins always says, if you're 5 minutes early, you're late. Know your lines and be bold. The greater gods will come to your aid. So that's my advice.
Well, this has been a journey. This has been
one more.
We're at time. Okay, it's up to you. If you want to take one more.
Let's do one more.
All right. If he says so, we'll do our final one. Go ahead. What's your name?
Hey, my name's Bobby. I'm so sorry for pushing that in. I know I'm kind of pushing it like Chaucer, but you talked about being kind and charming to be around. And I worked for Kiva Goldsman at Weed Road from 04 to 05. And you're my top 3 people that I met during that time. You were very kind to me. I was just an intern, and you were super nice. But
oh, thank you.
I wanted to give you a really funny, ending here. And I think you'll know the story, but I'm not sure. It might be a rumor. So on your first Chaucer introduction, supposedly all the extras didn't speak English. So when you got done, they didn't actually know you were done.
Okay,
are you
yes,
cool to tell
I know the story. The story is a true story. which is that we were shooting it in the Czech Republic. And so I did my first big speech in front of the crowd, and nobody laughed. And I was like, oh my God, how's this gonna work? It was terrible. Nobody clapped, nobody laughed. And so I said, look guys, we gotta figure this out. Maybe we need signs like they had in the old studio days where it says, laugh, applaud. And so they made all of these signs. And then I went and we did the speech again, and you know, some assistants held up the clap sign or the laugh sign, and the crowd went crazy because that's what it said to do on the card in Czech. And I'm so shallow a human being that I just was like, I'm killing these people. I'm killing them. They love me. Yeah, so that's a true story. Thank you very much.
All right, our bonus question. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.